Okay, go ahead.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Tell us about that.
Well, one time, just recently, I got to thinking about the number of times that I've had a lethal weapon pointed at me and fired with the intent to kill.
Mm-hmm.
The list of them, I think, came up to 12. A rifle was shooting at me in France, didn't get me. And later on at the same place, a sniper moved in. Now, he was good, but I had a hole. And then they started sending in mortars. Then there was a machine gun in the next town. We were supposed to go in and find out what the power was to the Germans backing out of France through the town of Coleman back into Germany. We were supposed to move in, contact them, have a brisk fight, and get an idea of their power at that place. Well, the machine guns and the flak wagons and the cannons were waiting for us. So I was, again, at the end of a 20-millimeter flak wagon firing, a machine gun shooting at us, and the cannon. Well, the cannon was shooting shells into the trees and they would explode, hitting the infantry that was under the trees. I got 56-stitch wound in the back. Okay, after that I went to the hospital in Paris, and then up to Le Havre. Then they moved me to England, and I ended up in northerly England in recuperation hospital. When I was ready to go back, when they decided I was ready to go back, I got 10 days freedom in London. And then I went to Litchfield to get the ride back to my outfit, my 14th Armored Division. So we crossed the channel in the boat again, and they let me off in Le Havre, and took a train to Paris. From there on, they told me that I'd be on my own. So I hunted up the Third Army and went up to the front, and they didn't, they'd tell me that my division had gone south or north, and I'd have to go back to the safe zones and move north or south. And they also said, take this truckload of German prisoners with you. So I did. Finally got to my outfit. But in the route, getting there, excuse me, the German V2 rockets, they were shooting those at London too. And also just the V1 rockets from Germany were just fired at England. They didn't care where they landed. So the next weapon that got after me was the German 262 fighter plane. It was the first jet engine we'd seen, faster than our airplanes. The bum part of it was for Germans, they burned gasoline so much that they couldn't stay in the sky.
Mm.
And when they'd land, we'd strafe them.
That's good.
That was the last time I'd gotten shot. I'd lost one prisoner in that siege, and that was because he was doing my job. A German prisoner volunteered, because he spoke English, to get up on the cab of the truck and tell the other guys where to go. Well, the MPs across the prison area, one of them shot a rifle over the heads of the guys too close to the fence. It killed the driver, or killed the German sitting on the roof of the truck where I was supposed to be. I agreed with that.
Mm.
But the attitude at the time, the body was laying there. An officer came by and asked me, who's that? And I said, it's German prisoner, got shot. He said, okay, drag him out of the way. No one went. Anyway, I finally got to my outfit. We had 13 men in our rifle squad. Of those 13, the driver was still there, and I was the other man. And then since then, I had the privilege of staying in Germany or going home with my outfit to retrain to fight the Japanese. Well, I stayed in Germany. That looked like a better deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And once again, lethal weapons after the war. I was shot at with a pistol in the streets in Augsburg at night. And on one trip, we went up to Garmisch-Partenkirchen in Germany, which is up into the German Alps, to hear, I can't think of the name, the man who used to sing Old Man River.
Oh, yeah.
And coming back with several soldiers with me that had not been in combat. Driving down the road, there was a pile of brush, and he was going to stop for it. I told him to stomp on that gas pedal, drive right through it. And about the time we got through it, we could hear the machine pistol behind us firing. They didn't hurt anybody. But that was the last time I got shot at.
Now, was this after the war had ended, the ceasefire? There were still rebels
Oh yeah,
kind of in
the
Germany?
Hitler Jugend were still active.
Mm. Okay.
When you first entered World War II, were you drafted?
I
Or you
volunteered
volunteered?
so I could have a little better choice.
Yeah.
I went to radio school.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So that was your training, or what was your specialty or your training in?
Well, that one I didn't use. I tried to get into the Air Corps, and I couldn't. And so I said, well, send me back to college. So I went to Ohio State University for about 4 months. They closed that down. sent me to the 14th Armored Division in Kentucky. And there I stayed.
What was your highest rank in the military?
At the last, I was sergeant major of a 800-man engineering battalion.
Oh, what year did you leave the military?
My last time in the military was 47 January.
How did you adjust when you got back, when you got out of the military?
No problem.
Okay.
I had to explain to my girlfriend why I stayed over there for a year and a half longer.
Was that Colleen?
No, it was the one I was engaged to at the moment.
Oh, okay. When did you first meet Colleen?
Well, that's another story. I knew a guy in grammar school, high school, and college who was studying to become a doctor. Willard Forney. And so I went into combat. He stayed in college. When I got home in 47, I think it was really 48, he was a doctor at French Camp General Hospital. And I just had a row with another girl, so I went out to see Forney. And I said, hey, you got a lot of nurses around here. How about a blind date? Yeah, okay. So a week later, I met Colleen.
What was your work in civilian life? Tell us about your work after the war.
I tried to go to college and found it was just uninteresting. So I went down to PG&E and asked them for a job, and they handed me a broom. So I started out as janitor in the warehouse. Eventually I got to be storekeeper in Manteca. Well, come to think about it, I had to sweep that warehouse too.
And then you were a master of the slide rule.
Yeah. I used that when I was taking inventory in Stockton, the big warehouse, as to the average need of this particular thing, a bolt or cross-arm brace or whatever. I used my slide rule. And then when I got promoted, the guy behind me wanted the job, but he said, I can't run a slide rule. He didn't seem to realize that he could scratch numbers and do it. But anyway, Barney made it. So then I went to Tracy and then over to Manteca. And then I got a chance to get into engineering. And I jumped at that. The guy with the broom in those days was paid $50 a week. Anyway, it was better pay, $96. That was it.
How about your sons were in scouting too, weren't they? Or just one?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of them made Life Scout and quit.
And then you have a grandson that made Eagle.
Yes. My older son's son, last couple of years, made Eagle Scout.
That's wonderful.
The only one in the family. Gee.
And that's what's your son's name? What are your sons' names?
Lyndon is the oldest.
Okay.
He lives or works in the bird cage down there. What is that name? Mayo.
Mayo Clinic? No.
No, the town. Los Gatos.
Oh, Los Gatos. Yes.
Okay.
You were saying
And then
right.
and then John is your other son?
John is a professor at UC Davis, Sacramento.
Wow. What does he teach?
Ooh, I keep thinking the old X-ray, but it's not X-ray anymore.
Yeah. Would it be medical technologies?
Yeah, he's on the staff in the big hospital there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is your grandson's name that made Eagle?
Samuel,
Okay.
Sam for short.
Hmm.
How about telling us about your photography?
Yeah,
When
how
did
did you get into?
What are your
Interested in
when
that.
did you were you interested in photography as a boy?
Yes, my father was a photographer on a slow minor base. He used it to get through college as a minister.
Okay.
And my brother was interested and pushed me into it. And my dad had died by then. So I started out with one of those expanding cameras.
Oh, okay. It's like a
with
bellows.
Bellows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've still got my dad's two cameras. One's a box camera, not box camera like this. It's a wooden frame with bellows.
Mm.
And his old Kodak camera. And then I started out with the famous Argus camera, Argus AF, which was one of the early 35 millimeter point and shoot type camera, but you had to make all the settings.
And then you enjoyed slides.
Yes.
Yes. And you could make, of course, you could make prints from slides.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that was Ektachrome or Kodachrome.
Kodachrome 68, was it? And then later on the Ektachrome 200.
Mm-hmm.
I used the 200 almost all of our trips.
Oh wow. Okay.
I like that.
And did you have your own dark room for a while?
Oh, yes, but just for black and white.
Oh, okay.
And very limited. I didn't have the patience to do it.
What was the black and white film that you preferred? Was it Tri-X or Plus X pan or something different?
I don't know. That's so far back.
Yeah.
That was earlier on. Did you do black and white before color, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As my dad did, my brother for years. But he moved right into movie film. 16 millimeter movie film, the old original.
Tell us about Martin McClay. Do you have some Martin McClay stories?
Yeah, I think of Martin McClay as a devoted, ambitious, not knowing very much. Don't tell him that. He and I had an ongoing argument about the speed of a machine gun bullet out of a plane doing 500 miles an hour. I said, in your relation, standing on the ground, that would be going 1,000 miles an hour. And he said, no, I won't. No way. Said it would be doing 500 miles an hour. And we never did settle that.
Oh, I remember him my first summer camp in 1975. He was up there.
Yeah.
And he didn't just hand out awards. I mean, he made people earn them.
Yeah.
I remember that, merit badges, and he was doing first aid. He was the one for first aid.
Yeah, and we had him voted in for the Silver Beaver. We didn't realize that he had quit scouting about 2 months earlier.
Oh, just 2 months.
That he should have gotten one. We offered to pay for it, anything we could do,
but yeah.
Could you explain the Silver Beaver?
Oh, that'd be good. Just so tell us a little bit about the Silver Beaver Award in itself. That's for 50 years of service.
I think that was a separate award. The 50 years was they just handed it to you.
Oh, okay.
60 years they sent me a letter.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But I was very inactive at the time. I got 60 years.
Wow.
But I think it's time and amount of duty
Okay.
to get it. And I certainly didn't argue at all with people that I knew that got it. And I want to point out, there were 4 men that got the Silver Beaver from my old Troop 17.
Oh.
Counting me.
Wow.
I think that's pretty high.
Yeah.
For a troop that folded about 2 years after I left.
How many people were in your troop?
I think there was 3 patrols of 6. That was about it.
Wow.
I wonder why Troop 432 folded up. I wonder.
We folded up because we couldn't get dads.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
There were a lot of single-parent families happening back
A
then.
lot of single women.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Max
Oh, Moeller.
Moeller. He and I were stuck with it. So we went to the headquarters and said, we need help.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, get the women to go camping with you. The mothers. I said, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that shouldn't have ever occurred.
Yeah.
So we closed the door. We gave the money to the, I think the American Legion,
Oh, okay.
and some of the utensils. We scattered the guys that wanted it.
Yes.
Now the money comes how was the troop sponsored? Where does that money come from?
We had a sponsor in reputation only. We never got anything from them.
Oh.
What about the Lions Club? What part did they have with the troop?
Were they the sponsors?
I think they had a part in that, but I don't.
And we just never talked to them, never got anything from them.
Yeah.
I guess we never gave them anything either.
It's a shame that the scout hut was torn down. That was a
Was that a Quonset?
no,
No.
no. It was just a building
No.
next to the tennis courts there
Where they did the new
on
development.
Center Street.
Yeah, you
Poplar.
remember the pegs that I put in for measurements?
Oh,
I'm wondering if they're still there.
oh,
I went out sometime when the boys weren't there and set off 50 feet, 100 feet, and how far around the building and so on, measured. And I put in markers down in the dirt. I could find them, but nobody else could.
Now your skills that you've utilized at the pre-camporees when we were training for the camporee, did you learn all those skills from when you were in Boy Scouts and when you were in World War II, like the compass course and knots and lashes and
I used the compass mapping quite extensively because the squad leader couldn't read one.
And you've had a great interest in topography or topog maps. I
Yes.
remember, yes.
You can no longer get those except by mail, and they're rather expensive.
Oh.
An interesting note, my wife's brother has a surveying dam building business in Sacramento. He has a printer that prints topog.
Oh, wow.
He said after you get it for your company, just rent is $1,000 a month. But he says I can call up any topog they make.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And he showed me beautiful detail.
Now, topog maps are the ones that have the rings representing the height of certain hills and
Yeah.
yes,
Elevation.
right.
I thought you knew.
No, I just wanted to tell the audience. This is for the audience.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, some people wouldn't know what
Right.
they would be called.
Do you have any other stories that you want to add that we haven't mentioned yet?
no. Well, one ugly story. One of the committeemen in the troop early, I think probably you were there, Spencer.
I don't remember.
He used to work in Tracy for his brother's linoleum company. Anyway, he was going to work one day and crossed the old bridge at the junction of I-5 and 120 going on to Tracy. Somebody had dropped a crowbar, and it was a graded bridge, so the crowbar stuck up. He didn't see it in time, and he said afterwards they told him it had ripped out all the brake system, all the steering controls. He didn't get hurt, but he ruined the car.
Wow. Gosh.
Boy, that's,
Yeah.
did you put it, paid for his sins.
Oh, now when you were first in Boy Scouts, did they have the Cub Scout and Weeblos back then, or did you just go right into Boy Scouts? Was that invented yet?
I was never a Cub Scout. I started at 12.
Okay. Did they have Cub Scouts, do you think, back then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember them, but
okay.
I was never interested in it.
I thought that that was a prerequisite, that was a requirement before going into Boy Scouts.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe later on.
And now, you were the troop treasurer, right, for 432?
Uh-oh.
That was your position in 432.
Yeah.
Yeah, treasure.
I was also scorekeeper and
Oh yeah, for the camporees.
for the camporees and for the rank in their troop.
Yeah, I remember your really. I looked through some of your score sheets, and you really perfectly ruled them out, and your writing was really concise and.
No, in those days, we had no printers.
No.
Yeah.
We were using the old gel
Yes. Yeah.
things. I've forgotten what you called it.
Were they like mimeographs or no? What were this like ditto sheets or?
Ditto.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the blue ink.
The blue ink. Yeah.
Now, can you think of a funniest episode in Scouts? Maybe one of your funniest things that happened.
Only one, and I'll not repeat this for public notice. If you turn the thing off,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
tell you.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty funny. That's a good ending. Right?
All right.